Good afternoon. This is Nicole Welsh from Girl Scouts of Northeast Ohio, and I'm here with you again to talk about the Cadet Badge, Finding Common Ground. Every time we get together, I'll ask you to go through the Promise and Law with me. It's the way we start Girl Scout meetings, Girl Scout events, and Girl Scouts getting together. It's a tradition. The Girl Scout promise is, if you'd make your Girl Scout sign with me, on my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. The Girl Scout law is, I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout. Thanks, ladies, for joining me in those. Today, we're going to take an overview of the 5 steps to this badge. Now, we just completed in video 1 the Get to Know Someone Different Than You badge step. Today, we're going to cover making decisions in a group, but you can look forward to additional videos covering exploring civil debate, understanding a compromise, and finding common ground through mediation. So step 2, make decisions as a group. How does your troop make decisions? What decision-making model do you use? What method do you guys employ? So you can't really do an activity with your group unless you do it virtually. Such as running your meeting or going for a run in the park or doing a service project. The important thing is to make lots of decisions together. Maybe it's when and where you'll meet, what you'll eat, how long you'll do things. What activities do you want to do? Let's talk about the common ground strategies and what trades you can make to get everything that you want done. And how do you think that strategy works at a government level? So let's talk about a couple of different options that you guys have to utilizing this and how it may look different in your family life versus your Girl Scout family or troop life, and maybe in your non-Girl Scout friend groups as well. Majority rules. That is the first decision-making method that we're going to discuss. So this typically, as defined by Merriam-Webster Dictionary, is a political principle providing that the majority, usually constituted by 50% plus one person of an organized group, will have the power to make decisions binding upon the whole. So poll your family. What do you guys want to have for dinner tonight? Is it pizza? Is it grilled chicken? Is it everybody fend for themselves, which has quickly become my teenager's favorite? I want you to think about it like this. When you guys are planning a camp out for your Girl Scout troop, which one of these decision methods are you going to employ? So majority rules, you're going to ask everybody in the group for their top 3 meal options. And then you're going to take the 2 most popular options and take a vote. And then the option with the most votes win. So maybe a bunch of you choose walking tacos, and another group of you say pie iron pizzas, and another group of you select something completely different, like, Dutch oven lasagna. So in looking at those options, you have the ability to say, well, we're voting right now just on dinner, or more than likely you're voting on food for the entire weekend. So you're going to put those 3 out to vote, and maybe the top 2 win as your dinner options. Or maybe you could have 1 win as your dinner option for Saturday, 1 win for your Saturday lunch, and the other win for your Sunday lunch. Kind of depends on how your weekend's going to roll out. But the point of majority rules is that the majority of the votes win. So if everybody votes for walking tacos but one, as denoted here by my sad face, you're going to have walking tacos for one of those meals. Let's look at some of our other decision-making methods. Compromise. Compromise is to make a deal between different parties where each party has to give up part of their demand. In arguments, a compromise is a concept of finding agreement through communication, through a mutual acceptance, where everyone is typically going to have to vary from their original goal or desired plans. So as denoted by the picture here, maybe, one girl in your troop says, absolutely not, I don't want walking tacos. And someone else in your troop says, well, I don't like pie iron pizzas, they take too long. And the compromise is there's many meals to your weekend. So you're going to have to come to an agreement on what makes the most sense for the group. And that might mean maybe the pizzas are made in the oven rather than in the pie irons. Maybe your walking tacos could also be a taco salad in case the person doesn't want the walking taco stuff. So there's all sorts of ways that you can compromise. Consensus is a general agreement, typically reached after much discussion with the parties involved. So your consensus and compromise really work hand in hand. Oftentimes you'll get a general consensus because oftentimes you're not going to suggest something that the group's not going to like. But your compromise is really where it's important. So maybe your brother or your sister says, I want burgers. And you say, but mom, I want pizza. You could order a cheeseburger pizza. Rumor has it those are pretty good. I don't know, I haven't tried them yet. Or you could agree to have burgers tonight and have pizza tomorrow, or vice versa. If you both like tacos though, could you choose those tonight instead? Because then you could discuss the issue and arrive at a decision that everyone can accept. And you've got, instead of one meal planned out, you've got the next 3 dinners planned out. And I'd say that's a win-win for everyone. Picking at random or random selection. In this particular decision-making method, everyone enters their choice into the drawing. And you either pull it from a fishbowl as pictured or from a hat or bag, or maybe you draw straws or popsicle sticks. Or you could even flip a coin if there's only 2 options. In this particular one, not everyone gets their choice of activity, but it's the most random of the 3 or 4 options. Can we think of some Girl Scout examples of when we might employ random selection or picking at random? Do you guys have something called turtle time when you have downtime at camp? Do you sometimes have camp where you didn't plan every single waking minute of every day? So maybe you guys could just throw all of your ideas into, a lunch bag or a bucket or someone's pillowcase. And you could pull out one option and say, okay, this is the one we're going to do right now. And maybe it's play tag in the field. So you go and you play tag. And the next time you have downtime, you draw another one. And maybe that one says, you have time to play Uno. So you play Uno. But maybe when you pick the one that says tag, it's raining outside. So maybe your compromise is you pick a different one now and you play tag later. You see how all of these decision-making methods can move together and work together? So you can use 2 or all of them rather than just sticking with one of them. So in case you're wondering how this might apply directly to Girl Scouts, when you pull together your troop, we sometimes ask that you create a Girl Code of Conduct agreement. And if you haven't done this yet with your troop, I implore you to try it out. So basically, you're going to take all of the things that are important to us, right? The promise and the law and all that they stand for. And you're going to create a behavior contract for your entire troop. Maybe that's your your additional group agreements. So it's the things that you as a group of girls just won't tolerate. So maybe it's no one will make fun of someone's pajamas. or we'll all compliment everyone on their activities. So if you guys are at the point where you're directing the activities in the troop or you're teaching the badge materials, you'll always find something nice to say about what they do. And then you have to sign off on this agreement, because that tells us that you're vested in the agreement, that you want to do everything that's on this page. And some of the extra examples of how you can live by the promise and law every day is always telling the truth, being nice to others and help when asked or if someone's in need, show kindness, stand up for what's right, do not put yourself down or make fun of others, being responsible for what I say and do, right? So those are some ideas of what you can work into your troop agreement. And then what's even most important on this agreement is your parent has to sign off on it too, that they understand and realize that you're being held to this code of conduct within your troop. And then your troop or group leader signs it as well. And that's important because now your troop leader is aware of the rules that you, as the girls in this troop, have created for yourselves. And it's super important to also think about what would be the consequences if you broke one of those rules of engagement for your troop. So think about those too as a group and utilize that. But that's making decisions as a group. Now, the next section of the badge I'm going to talk about just for a brief second here with you, because making decisions as a group typically happens when you guys are doing badges in your own troop. So if you were in your troop leader would look at you, or one of your counterparts in the troop would look at you and say, hey, for step 3 of this badge, we have to look at different topics to debate. What do we want to debate? What do we want to discuss pros and cons about? And so these were some of the topic areas that I had presented to a group of young ladies who were willing to give me like a select group of responses. And highlighted as schools should not use standardized testing. So I just kind of wanted to give you guys a preview. I ask you that if you're going to work through this entire badge in this video series, that you think about schools should not use standardized testing, and you think about the pros and cons. Should they use it continually? Should they stop using it? And why? The important part here is the why. So you want to look at the reasons why for both sides so that you can make a valid argument. And I want you to prep that and think about that before you go on to step number 3, which is civil debate. Once again, if you have any questions, you can ask those questions in our Facebook group. The joining link is provided here on this slide for the GSNEO Virtual Cadet Troop. We have lots of activities, badges, journeys, and other virtual options for the Cadet Girl Scouts as featured in this group. If you have any questions, you can ask them there, and our virtual leader team can get back to you with the answers. Thanks for joining me today for step number 2.